it's been a blockbuster Wednesday in Maharashtra politics. It was Sharad Pawar versus Ajit Pawar in Mumbai today, where they held separate show of strength meetings. Sharad Pawar is said to have had the support of some 18 MLAs who turned up, and Ajit Pawar has claimed, his nephew has claimed, that he has the support of 29 MLAs. So now what happens to the disqualification? And is it the end game of Sharad Pawar? What is Eknath Shinde going to do? Because we are told that Eknath Shinde is also holding some meeting in the evening and they will decide the next course of action. There's a lot of disgruntlement within the Eknath Shinde camp. So where does this leave the Maharashtra politics? Does it make the ground more difficult for BJP? Or is it going to be an easy going now for Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray, because they will have public sympathy in their favor? I'm joined by a very special panel. We have senior journalists, two senior journalists from Maharashtra, Sanjay Jog and Vivek Deshpande. Thank you so much for joining. And for giving us a national picture, we have Javed Ansari, also with us, senior journalist and editor. Thank you so much, Javed. And let me begin with Sanjay Jog. Sanjay Jog was present in both the meetings. He attended the meetings at the YB Chaman Center and also the MET Center, where Ajit Pawar was holding the meeting. Sanjay, what is the sense really you got from today's meeting? Can we really say that it is the end game for Sharad Pawar? Just unmute yourself, Sanjay. Unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I can't say it's the end game for Sharad Pawar. One thing is very clear. With his composed style of speech, with a experience that he has, and he's a fighter that at least I have seen for last 30 years, and he has taken, he has got one habit of weathering all odds, and which he expressed his resolve today also. In case of Ajit Pawar, no doubt about it, he spilled the beans, and whatever he was hiding in his mind, he came out today openly, blaming his uncle, mentor, guru, whatever you say, and squarely putting, again, his cousin Supriya into a wrong blocks. Two interesting things. One, Ajit Pawar is still not so happy. I mean, his speech was lackluster, only blaming his uncle Supriya, Jayant Patil, Jitendra Awad. He has no other program to offer. Secondly, he went on towing Narendra Modi's line. I mean, what Mr. Eknath Shinde has been doing since he had joined with this government. And the third very interesting in case of Ajit Pawar is that in the larger interest of Maharashtra, in the larger interest of development, not of the state, but of his own people, and giving just a ministerial berth, some kind of positions here and there, he had chosen to go to the government. Very interesting part. One of the things, what he said is that 2024 in any case is a drawn conclusion, in the sense Modi and BJP is going to make it. So why to waste time in opposition? And that's why we have taken the decision. But contrary to that, Mr. Pawar was very calm and cool, as is always. He made a very interesting thing. Unka sikka khota hai, so that's why they have to make this such a live. Our sikka is very right. So I will do whatever I have to. I need your cooperation. I will march on that. Second, what he said is that he is definitely going to be one of the factors to unite all those opposition, because it's a samvad ki kami hui hai. It's a very interesting thing. Democracy, dialogue is important, but since BJP has taken over, yes, samvad is missing. So we have, entered into that, and we will definitely try to put in a kind of an alternative. And a third interesting takeaway from Sharad Pawar's speech is that, I mean, ye jo baat kar rahe hain about till recently, Mr. Modi was painting NCP as a naturally corrupt party. And suddenly what happened to bring this all together? And they get them into the fold. So forget about their speeches. I will not mind. And one thing very candidly he said, ye Prime Minister ko shobha nahi deta, aisi language use karne ke liye, कि 70,000 का घोटाला, महाराष्ट्र स्टेट बैंकिंग कॉर्पोरेशन में बेटा, कोऑपरेटिव बैंक में घोटाला, पर उन्होंने कोई प्रूफ नहीं दिए. So one very interesting thing is that Pawar is definitely going to start a statewide troop. I know the schedule that he has already prepared. He is ready to fight. On the other hand, Ajit Pawar will now have to, do a lot of circus of Shahu Ambedkar Phule ideology and Hindutva mix, basically to go ahead with whatever combination now he has joined.
Right. So what you're saying is that Ajit Pawar will have a tough going, but for Sharad Pawar, he knows and he believes, he has trust in his head, and he believes his party cadres also. So the going will not be very tough for Sharad Pawar. Is that what you're hinting at, Sanjay?
I think so. No. At the same time, Mr. Pawar made it very candidly clear. Sankat ka samay hai. That's fine. Pawar knows that. Yes, Sankat ko kaise opportunity mein convert karna. So, but he was giving a sense to his cadre. Don't worry about that. We will definitely tackle Samuhik Ritya collectively. I think that confidence was required among the cadre, which he gave today. On the other hand, Ajit Pawar went on telling that, "Ki boss, hame to mila hi hai. My effort will be to give you, to distribute you." But beyond that, he had no other thing to mention about. One thing, Nilu, I should mention about. He said, as now we are part of this combination, हम 90 seats लड़ने वाले हैं. And how can you arrive at 90 seats? What he is saying that minus Congress. So what Bhavan Kule had talked about a few days ago, his video was ultimately abruptly, deleted. So one thing is quite clear: 156 to be contested by BJP, 90 to this NCP, and 48 will go to Shinde. That's a very interesting combination, which he came out, openly. Nilu, we can't discard that claim. And at the first meeting, if he is saying that we are going to contest 90, so what will happen to Shinde? I'm not worried about what will happen to Mr. Sharad Pawar. So that is the thing which is going to evolve in the days to come.
Absolutely. We'll talk about Shinde's prospects a little later, but I still want to come to the number game of NCP. And if I may come to you, Vivek, where does this, if you look at purely the numbers, 18 MLAs, landed up in favor of Sharad Pawar. We had 29 MLAs who were seen on the stage with Ajit Pawar. Now, numerical strength, if you purely look at, where does that leave NCP? Now, whom does NCP belong to if you look at the numerical strength? Are we in a position to say that it no more belongs to Sharad Pawar, or still the things are in a lurch and it would be too early to come to a conclusion, because there were a lot of MLAs who were seen at both the venues? There were some MLAs about whom we do not know which side they will turn up to, because some of them are abroad, some of them didn't turn up. Now, where does that leave, to the larger question, whom does NCP belong to? Yes, Vivek.
Yeah, Nilu, I think at present, the situation is very confusing. I mean, you cannot say where does the NCP really belong? Does it belong to Mr. Sharad Pawar? Does it belong to Mr. Ajit Pawar? Because Ajit Pawar still doesn't have that requisite number of 36. It's possible that he might get those numbers in the days to come, as Mr. Shinde had got those numbers. And we had to wait for a few days before Shinde could muster that number of 40 or 50. So maybe Ajit Pawar will be able to finally get those numbers. And in that case, as it has happened in the case of Mr. Shinde's party, NCP will eventually belong to Ajit Pawar. But then, we will have to wait and see. The situation has not yet crystallized. But this power equation within the ruling alliance now has become all the more intriguing, because simultaneously, as Mr. Pawar and Mr. Sharad Pawar and Ajit Pawar have been conducting their meetings, another meeting has happened in the Shinde group as well, because they have their own scores to settle now with the two sides, because they had come with a certain promise, and that promise is not likely to be fulfilled with the entry of Mr. Ajit Pawar and his group. So, a lot of internal dynamics will come into play over the next few days. It all depends on whether the BJP is able to strike some kind of an equilibrium among all the three partners, and finally face the next round of elections unitedly. That is something which we can't say at the moment, but a lot of discontent is already brewing in the Shinde camp. So currently, I think the situation is very, very perplexing, to say the least. But if you consider what happened to Mr. Uddhav Thackeray after Eknath Shinde and his group parted ways with it and joined the BJP, then I don't see any reason why that will not happen with Mr. Sharad Pawar. I mean, the sympathy factor. If the sympathy has gone to Uddhav Thackeray, there's no reason why it will not go to Sharad Pawar. Of course, Sharad Pawar will have answers to provide for the questions that Ajit Pawar has raised in today's meeting, and those questions are very relevant. I mean, forget about what kind of an impact Sharad Pawar can make and how powerful he is, but the questions that Ajit Pawar has thrown at him are quite important. And the most important question is that Mr. Sharad Pawar was party to, this partnership with proposed partnership with BJP thrice, not just once. It was once. First, it was in 2014, then in 2017, and then in 2019, when a meeting had happened at an industrialist place, and portfolios had also been discussed. So, if Mr. Pawar had gone to that extent in that bid to form some kind of a partnership with the BJP, then how does he explain that? Why did he go at that length to strike that partnership? So Mr. Pawar will have to do a lot of explaining to that. For now, I don't think he's going to do that. He is steering clear of all that, and he's targeting the BJP instead of targeting his nephew, Ajit Pawar. So, which is very interesting. I mean, he's not answering the questions raised by Pawar. He's targeting the BJP. So there are two different approaches Mr. Ajit Pawar and Sharad Pawar have taken. In the days to come, maybe he will have a lot of things to say about his nephew also. Let's wait and see how the situation unfolds over the next few months. But for now, as far as the sympathy is concerned, it's advantage Uddhav Thackeray as well as Sharad Pawar. But if this also happens with the Congress as is being predicted, then I think the combined strength of the Mahavikas Aghadi will be dented to a certain extent. Whether the kind of support that MVA was getting in the surveys that we have seen over the last few days, whether that support will remain another 2 or 3 months down the line, that is a question that nobody knows answer of. So for now, we will have to wait and watch how the situation unfolds in the days to come.
Right. But indeed, it is a challenge, and it does look like a challenge for Sharad Pawar. But Javed, if I may ask you, are Ajit Pawar and people like Chhagan Bhujbal, the manner and the tone and the tenor, how they spoke today was completely different. No one had ever heard even Chhagan Bhujbal, to talk in that challenging tone, the way Ajit Pawar came down, and that was an acrimonious tone against his own uncle. What would you really say that can these two leaders, Praful Patel didn't sound so acrimonious, but these two leaders came down heavily on Sharad Pawar. And are these two leaders, do they pose a big challenge for Sharad Pawar now in the days to come?
Look, individually they don't, but collectively, yes, there is a challenge. This is Sharad Pawar, perhaps Sharad Pawar's toughest political battle. This is an existential issue for Mr. Sharad Pawar. And he's not going to walk away into the sunset. For those who imagine, if Mr. Chhagan Bhujbal and Mr. Ajit Pawar or Praful Patel or anybody imagines that Mr. Pawar will just walk away into the sunset, he won't. He's a fighter. He'll fight back. Just go take your mind back to the images of the last election. In this pouring rain at 9 o'clock in Satara, he stood there and addressed those crowds. So that was that was the moment. That was the moment of that election that turned it around. So Sharad Pawar has it in him. He will fight. He may have numerically suffered, but his trump card is the people, is the kind of sway that he holds over the NCP voters, the NCP rank and file. And he will take this issue to the rank and file. He'll take it to the streets. To the streets by me, I mean to the masses. He will try and undercut the support base of Mr. Ajit Pawar and all these others. This is what he did last time to the NCP defectors, if you remember.
Right.
Our friends from Maharashtra will be able to name them. I can't immediately recollect. But this meeting that I was talking about was held at a place where the gentleman concerned was first in NCP and had defected. So Sharad Pawar doesn't forget very easily. And he will do that. He has his task cut out. He will try and make this sympathy factor. The fact is that he has created all these people. In all the epithets that were hurled at him by his nephew, in a moment of truth, he also said that he's my mentor, he's my guide. Wherever I've reached in politics is because of him. And he didn't bat an eyelid in chucking him out. So this is politics. There's a couplet in Urdu, कुछ तो मजबूरियां रही होंगी वरना दोस्त यूं ही बेवफा नहीं होते. So we can all guess क्या मजबूरी थी. But anyway, the same applies to Praful. The same applies to Chhagan Bhujbal. Chhagan Bhujbal was rotting in jail for 2 years. And it's this government which has put him behind bars,
Absolutely.
And the kind of language that Chhagan Bhujbal used to use for these people. So this is politics. I have, in 40 years, that close to 40 years that I've spent covering politics, I've seen many such issues. Pawar Saab has weathered many storms, and I'm sure ultimately he will. Right now, the numbers game, because everything is stacked in favor of Mr. Ajit Pawar, the might of the central and the state government, all the agencies, everything else. So when you are in power, you are able to dispense favors. You can undo a lot of things. You are able to make a lot of decisions. When you're out of power, that leverage is not available to you. But nonetheless, I would be amongst the last people to write out Mr. Sharad Pawar. He's fought and come back in the past, and he'll fight and come back. This is an existential issue. This is perhaps the last, but definitely the toughest and the most vital political battle of his life that he's fighting.
Absolutely. And he did mention in his speech, Sanjay, that we've lost many leaders in the past, but we've tried to rebuild the party in some way or the other, and we've marched ahead. But what I want to ask you is that we do not know the numerical strength as to how many MLAs still side with Sharad Pawar or Ajit Pawar. But what about the groundswell of the cadres, the NCP cadres? Like it's almost giving a sense of deja vu, what we were discussing last year, if you remember, when this similar kind of a split happened in Uddhav Thackeray's camp. And it's exactly the same thing which is being repeated this year. So again, the million-dollar question, that which side is the NCP cadre going to? Will it be inclined towards Sharad Pawar? Will it be inclined towards Ajit Pawar? How do you see the things unfolding?
Nilu, just to put you in perspective, very interestingly, Ajit Pawar is claiming that the entire cadre and the rank and file is with him because the power is there. They want some kind of a positioning there, which Mr. Pawar cannot offer. But on the contrary, Mr. Pawar is banking on to whom he has groomed, to whom he has given a position in the party, and those who have literally seen him working for them, they are with him. Say, just to give you an example, his most trusted so-called disciple, Mr. Dilip Walse Patil, who had worked when he used to be the leader of opposition in Maharashtra for 8.5 years as a personal assistant. For the first time in 1990, he was given a ticket from Ambegaon. This is the assembly from in a Pune district. For 7 consecutive times, he was elected. Can you believe that? He has deserted him. He has been given, position in what is known as Yashwantrao Chavan Trust as a trustee. He is also a vice president of Rayat Chausa, which Mr. Pawar heads. He is also vice president of Basant Sugar Institute, again, a prominent institute working in the sugar and sugarcane industry. Are all giving that if he is deserting, what are the compulsions? So just to tell you, Nilu, Mr. Pawar is going to start his entire statewide route from Ambegaon assembly constituencies. So the cadre is with him. Mr. Pawar will see that, just to give you again, in 2019, Madhukar Pichar, a tribal leader who was rose to all his position thanks to Mr. Pawar's blessing. His son was contesting from Akole constituency. Mr. Pawar went there along with Supriya. They held 2 meetings and he was defeated. So don't underestimate what Mr. Pawar and the cadre, that, that kind of a bonhomie that still enjoy. Whatever may be the factors, which may attract some kind of or a section of cadre to go with Ajit Pawar. But Mr. Pawar will reach out to the young, to the youth, and, those unemployed and whatnot. That's why he focused on that. हमारे सामने कौन से issues हैं? Unemployment, bekari, farmers' distress and whatnot. And that is his favorite. And that is definitely going to be played up during his entire statewide tour. And the last, very interestingly, one thing very interesting, Mr. Pawar is that way a last word when it comes to the cooperative sector in Maharashtra. Ajit definitely has got a clout, but considering 258, sugar mills, of which almost 170 plus are cooperative, remaining private, also the cooperative milk sector, Mr. Pawar has got such a clout that if at all, even though it is from the BJP, they will definitely go and meet Mr. Pawar to have the solution to be found out, maybe at the state level or at the central level. So there again, that entire machinery is at his disposal. So let us see how that cadre, at the same time, that those guys who are working in this field will definitely remain with Mr. Ajit Pawar or Mr. Pawar, whatever he has already planted there or developed there.
Right. Surely what has happened in NCP is not something which is totally new. We are seeing a family feud. We are seeing a battle of ego, Vivek. playing out before everyone. But what everyone is not able to understand, that this feud, what is the kind of impact it is going to have on the opposition unity? Say, for example, on the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi in Maharashtra, and also on the National Opposition Alliance, which is formalizing its next meeting in Bangalore. How do you see the things unfolding as far as this aspect is concerned?
Yeah, Nilu, I think this will certainly have some impact because, the opposition unity was heavily banking on this strength of the Mahavikas Aghadi in Maharashtra, because Maharashtra and Bihar are the two states from where this opposition unity had a lot of hopes. Now, if with the exit of Mr. Ajit Pawar and his group from NCP and Mr. Shinde and his group from Shiv Sena, if there is some dent in the overall strength of Mahavikas Aghadi, it certainly is a cause for concern as far as the opposition unity is goes. But I will again refer to those surveys which we have seen over the last few months in Maharashtra, where the scales seem to be tilted heavily in favor of Mahavikas Aghadi. Now, it all depends on whether the people have made up their mind to go with the Mahavikas Aghadi at all costs, like we have witnessed in Karnataka. In Karnataka, the people had made up their mind. They had decided to vote the BJP out and vote the Congress in. Similarly, if the people in Maharashtra have already made up their mind to throw BJP out, then come what may, no matter what kind of tactics does the BJP adopt, the people will, I don't think this latest development will kind of change the people's mind. People will change their mind and would now tend to go with this new alliance. I think if they have made up their mind to go with Mahavikas Aghadi, that will remain the sentiment, and that sentiment has been strengthened further. There's some disturbance.
Yeah, Sanjay, can you please mute yourself?
Yeah.
There's some sound from your end.
Yeah,
Vivek.
So along with so one thing is, if people have made up their mind, they won't change it so easily. I think that that sentiment will only be strengthened by the kind of dirty politics that we have seen over the last few months, last 1 year in Maharashtra. People are really fed up of this kind of power politics, where the incumbent parties are out to wrest power at any cost. The sentiment in favor of Mahavikas Aghadi, I will not be surprised if that gets strengthened further by what is happening of late. There is no way this new ragtag combination is likely to influence the people into thinking otherwise. So, in all probability, the people will only make up their mind all the more to vote in favor of Mahavikas Aghadi instead of going with these people. Of course, I mean, Ajit Pawar will have some, will cut into NCP's vote bank, there's no doubt. But will that be enough for the new alliance? Because on the Shinde side, the BJP already knows that it has nothing to gain from Shinde side, because maybe Shinde will get them a few seats in Thane or Kalyan or that belt, nowhere else in Maharashtra. So that is why they wanted to get the NCP faction with them. But what kind of reward it will get for the BJP as far as the elections are concerned, that is $1 million question. Nobody knows. Of course, there will be some votes swinging in favor of Mr. Ajit Pawar, but to what extent, that we will have to wait and see. But overall, if the people have made up their mind to vote in favor of MBA, there is no way that sentiment is going to diminish in the days to come. All the more so because the kind of dirty politics that the BJP has rolled out in Maharashtra will only strengthen that sentiment further instead of diminishing it. Nilu.
Right. The story which is just coming in and I'm seeing on all the websites is that, the rebel faction of the NCP has ousted Sharad Pawar from the top post of the party he has founded, which means that Ajit Pawar has removed Sharad Pawar as the president of the party. Now,
Yeah.
that's quite an interesting development. But Javed, I really want to explore as to the kind of equilibrium which Vivek Deshpande was just talking about a short while back, that BJP will have to find some sort of an equilibrium between Shiv Sena faction of Eknath Shinde, NCP, and the BJP. Now, is that going to be very difficult for BJP to find an equilibrium, given the fact that there's going to be disgruntlement? There's already a disgruntlement as far as the Eknath Shinde camp is concerned. Then to do justice to all the leaders of the NCP who are coming in, what kind of a road ahead is it going to be for BJP?
Look, the BJP has its task cut out in managing these contradictions. On the first day itself, Mr. Ajit Pawar has declared, one, he's made no secret of his ambition, that he wants to be chief minister. Two, that he wants the NCP will contest, according to him, 90 plus seats in the next assembly elections. So if he contests 90 plus and with just 26 MLAs, and the BJP has its own number of MLAs, so BJP will contest 100 plus. So where does it leave Mr. Shinde, who has brought twice the number of MLAs? So there is more than enough heartburn in the Eknath Shinde. There must be a lot of concern in the Eknath Shinde camp as to what will happen to them, whether their sacrifice, all that they did, everything that they did will go in vain if somebody else comes at the 11th hour and takes away the cream. How will the BJP manage these contradictions? I don't put it past them, because they are great political masters, very good political managers, and they have at their disposal the official. They know how to operate the official machinery better than most people do in politics. So therefore, they have all these advantages, but they have their task cut out. And on the ground, how will these contradictions play out? How will this paper over these contradictions? Okay, you can arm twist or you can mollycoddle the individual leaders into falling in line. But what about the workers? Because most of these MLAs who have won, they've contested against each other. The Sena MLA has contested against NCP and Congress and won. The NCP MLAs who have switched over to their side may have defeated the BJP and Sena and come. So how are they all going to stomach it? So it's not going to be an easy ride. They may have won the battle, but the war is yet to be won. And removing Mr. Sharad Pawar is an unkind cut, but all this is expected. He's not going. This issue will go to the Election Commission, and I'm sure then it will go to the Supreme Court as well. It's not going to be this issue. This is a political battle. It will not be decided in the Election Commission or in the Assembly or before the Supreme Court. This is, as far as Mr. Pawar is concerned, he will take it to the masses. He will fight, and because that's his biggest strength, he'll try and undercut these people from below and prove his strength whenever the next assembly elections are concerned. And the Maha Vikas Aghadi, this certainly is a setback, but the Maha Vikas Aghadi has no option but to stick together. If they stick together, they have a chance, they have a fighting chance. If they don't, they all stand diminished. So they will stick together. Initial reports, even the Congress, amongst the first people to call Mr. Sharad Pawar after this happened was Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. He not only pledged his support, but also indicated that the entire Congress party and even the Gandhis are concerned and they stand behind him. You have the full support. So which means a lot, Mr. Pawar. And you can take away some MLAs. You can't take away the wisdom and the experience gained over all these years. The blood and sweat and toil that he's put into Maharashtra politics, that will, that still is worth its weight in gold. And I'm sure all that will come into play. These are tough times for him, no doubt. And this is baptism by fire for Supriya Sule. But all this business of people saying that because Supriya Sule was made president, therefore this happened. No, it was an attempt to try and preempt this. Ajit Pawar has now said it himself that this has been going on for several years, and Mr. Pawar kept, stymieing it for one reason or the other. The reason he put Praful and Supriya as president was to ensure that this gentleman, Ajit Pawar, doesn't succeed in his shenanigans. Of course, little was he to know that the person who held his little finger and walked and took his baby steps in politics, both Ajit and Praful Patel would backstab him. But this is politics. This is life. this happens. I mean, nothing remains the same. You're down one day, you'll be up again.
No, but you said, Javed, that Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi has no option but to stick together. But Sanjay, what are you picking up from your sources? Is it really going to be, a probability where we would see Eknath Shinde walking out of the NDA alliance now? I mean, can we see that happening? Because if you remember, they have been saying that if NCP comes along with BJP, they will not stay on, and they do have a meeting in the evening. What are the chances like as far as Eknath Shinde is concerned? Are they likely to leave the camp, or they also don't have any options and but to stick around with BJP right now?
Before this budget, debate started, I had a word with a lot of guys from Eknath Shinde camp. 2-3 interesting takeaways. What they are saying is that they are firstly on a wait and watch mode. They are not at all hurry to just get out of this ministry. Thirdly, yesterday that one of the ministers, a former Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray's minister from Satara again, Shambhuraj Desai, clearly said that if at all there will be some response or an overtures, we will definitely take a call. I think this is taking a time. Look at the indication that they are giving. They're certainly not happy with the induction of Ajit and Ajit-led faction in the government, but they have no other choice. Like as I repeatedly talking, in your show also, BJP is known that whatever the lesson they have to talk to Uddhav Thackeray, taking Shinde fold, they have done. Shinde's utility is over. Shinde has no mark at all beyond Thane, Palghar district. And that's why the major thing is that casualty of vote of transfer. BJP knows that if Shinde is just tagged along with them, they are not going to be benefited. And that's why this entire, this bringing in NCP has always been known. NCP is still, whatever under Mr. Sharad Pawar and now with Ajit Pawar, is a party of a district tycoons. Like you will find Praful in Bandara Gondia, Mr. Pawar, Ajit in Pune district, or whatever you name like that. So they know that where they are and what is the pulse. So right now, I think Eknath Shinde camp is certainly disappointed, but they have no guts to get out of this ministry right now because they are also enjoying, or reaping the fruits of the power, and they don't want to come out of that. Second, very interesting thing, where is the party organization which Mr. Shinde has to talk about? Nothing. Beyond some few karyakartas here and there, who are the big leaders who have joined him across Maharashtra? That's a major thing. 288 constituencies, 48 Lok Sabha seats. What they are claiming is that they should get about 22 what Shiv Sena has contested, but there are no candidates. There is no, the cadre that has been built up. I know, I can understand 1 year is not so enough, but what he was expecting in mass, Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray's, this cadre, Shiv Sainiks, Vibhag Pramukh, Shaka Pramukhs will come. That has not happened. So Shinde knows his limitation. Shinde knows that Mr. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah are now his new leaders. And beyond that, he cannot survive. So right now, I think he is not at all in a position to take a call of getting out of the ministry. He will sit quiet, he will think over, and then he will decide. And just last word, right now, what's happening is that another worry for Shinde. If at all, for whom they were blaming, that is Ajit Pawar, if we manage to suck and get finance and planning department, they are finished. Right now in the entire power, this entire sharing thing equation, it is going to be BJP ministers and NCP stalwarts who knows the administration and their administrative skill. They will literally have a mark. Shinde will be non-plus. His ministers have turned out to be a non-performer. So that's another worry that he will have to think and thought about what will be his future line of action. I think I had a word with 2 other ministers of Eknath Shinde. They said that they are certainly disappointed, disheartened, but not in a position to take all immediately. I think they will have a sittings together, a series of meetings, and then they will decide.
Right. Quite an interesting day today, and we've got a clear picture as to what all has happened, who said what, where does a numerical strength lead to. Of course, it's just a little trailer, what we have seen, but the entire film is yet to be seen. But towards the end, if I may ask you, Vivek, how would you really see the things unfolding from here on for BJP? Will it backfire for BJP? Or do you see the sentiments in favor of Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray when they move on the ground asking for votes?
Yeah, definitely, Nilu. I think the BJP realizes that that's going to be a big challenge. They already know about the sympathy wave in favor of Uddhav Thackeray. And there's no reason, they're not so unwise not to anticipate such a wave in favor of Mr. Sharad Pawar as well. The NCP legacy is mainly, attributed to Sharad Pawar. He is the guy who started it all. So if that is being taken away from him, then the sympathy goes to him. Just as there was this narrative going on after Shinde parted ways with Sena, that he ran away with Uddhav Thackeray's father. This sentiment really works very strongly among the electorate. So the BJP does know about this. The BJP must have factored this in when it did all the tricks under its belt to muster this kind of a alliance. Now, the thing is, the BJP has to manage the perception that has gone out into the electorate. Forget about these two partners. They will try and try everything to do and to strike an equilibrium among the three partners. But how do they manage the perception, the wrong perception about they have created about themselves in their own voters' minds as well as the overall electorate? So that is a perception that they have to fight. How do they go to the people explaining all this? See, what initially they did was also wrong. If they had a Hindutva partner in Shiv Sena, and if the partner had asked for 2.5 years of chief ministership, they would have done well to accept that. And now they would have been in a very good position in Maharashtra. What they did, they did not honor Mr. Uddhav Thackeray's word, and they parted ways with him. And subsequently, they had to do this kind of a ragtag politics in Maharashtra, which is seeing no end. I mean, we have not seen the end of it as of now. More things are likely to happen. We can expect more drama to unfold in Maharashtra over the next few days. This is not the end of the story. So the perception about BJP has gone from bad to worse in this whole process. And that perception management will be the biggest problem that the BJP will face in the next elections, I think. They might strike some kind of a balance among these two partners they have got of late. But perception is something which they will definitely find very, very difficult to overcome, Nilu.
Right. So all in all, it's certainly not the end game for Sharad Pawar. And if you have heard his speech very carefully, he did mention that the dawn comes after the darkest hour. This is what he said in his speech. So who knows that the war has just begun and BJP might have to do a lot of homework in Maharashtra. So thank you so much, Javed Ansari. Thank you, Sanjay, Vivek. It was a pleasure having you on the program. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching the Federal, subscribe to our channel.